Good morning, MegaCoolGamerz. It is a beautiful day at 70 degrees and sunny, and we are all sitting inside. My name is Matt, no last name, and this is the MegaCoolGamerz.
The voices won't stop.
What's up, Tommy? How are you?
I like boys.
Fuck.
Listen up.
Oh god.
That was my bad. Didn't mean to hit that. Okay, but next week.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Malaysia Airlines Flight 370.
Oh, God. Damn it.
Jesus.
Pretend this is funny. I'm Vinny.
They're loud.
Alrighty, let's get started off today with Twitch.
Twitch.
That's
Twitch.
that's
More
all
like
that's on
boring. Twitch is
Okay.
alright.
Yeah, so what's
Imagine
everyone's
just not playing the game. It's boring.
Yeah.
what's
honestly,
everyone's viewpoint on Twitch streams or like live streams in general? I mean, we talk about the other ends of Twitch.
They
I think
could
some
be
of them-
good, like, in certain aspects, but most of the time they're kind of just dull.
What I think is like
Yeah,
It's-
just like just play the game.
they're so hard to do because like you have to carve time out of your day to figure out when you're gonna watch this live stream or you're not gonna watch it. Whereas a video, you can just watch it whenever you please, whenever you want, and
Yeah.
it's so much better.
Well, I think
I
there are
feel
like archives of the Twitch streams, but I feel like most of them are just so disposable because it's just, oh, what will this? Ninja's gonna play Fortnite again.
I like the highlights.
Yeah, the highlights.
I feel
You
like
can just
the
watch
video-
highlights on YouTube. It's just
They're so long.
A video
too,
has the
like
best
2
part.
hours.
A video has the best part of your game. So you find like a legendary gun in Call of Duty, they'll put that in the video. Whereas Twitch, you have to watch, maybe hours of them sifting through terrible stuff, and it's just
Yeah,
kind of boring.
it's boring.
If you have it in the background on, and I mean, I have no problem with it. I just think it's kind of stupid.
I tried to watch live streams on Twitch. It's just so boring. There's nothing going on for half the time. So it's just
yeah.
they're either
Or if
not
they are
there.
like playing a game,
Thing
they're
is-
concentrating, so they're not talking.
Yeah, you have to also remember they're human too. So half the time or not half the time, but like 10% of the time they're not there. They're like, oh, I'm going on a break, and they're just not there. So you're waiting around. So it's just like,
You're typing poggers into the chat.
yeah.
Poggers in chat, everyone.
So it's like I'd rather just watch a YouTube video. Every second a minute is gonna be an actual video. There's not gonna be someone's.
Good content.
Yeah, they edited it for good content only. Whereas
Unless it's a literal re-upload of a Twitch stream.
yeah, I agree.
Like the whole thing, honestly.
Hence, like if it's like good clips of like a Twitch stream, I'm fine. I'll watch that.
The
But like
epic
if it's just
moment.
like the stuff in between where it's just like they don't do anything, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, I think some Twitch streams also take advantage of people and their money. Like they want, they trick kind of young kids into, oh, I'll say your name or
Not
your
just young
username,
kids.
or I'll say whatever. If you
I've
give
gotten
me
free
$5.
shout-outs.
No, I mean they're
Like,
fine, but if you're a dumb 12-year-old.
No, even, yeah. I've gotten, like, if you ask them, like, if it's a smaller streamer, like, at the beginning of the stream, you get there early enough, they'll just, you'll be like, yo, what's up? And they'll be like, hey. One guy was like, Tomic. And I was like, yeah, that's my name.
I remember one time, recently there was this girl, I think it was like in Invader Vi or something, and she got so mad because like these guys were people were watching her, and you can see how many people are watching you and how many people subscribe, and not a lot of people were subscribing. She was like, how dare you guys not subscribe? It's only $5. You guys are so cheap. You're jacking off to me and you're not paying me anything. This is ridiculous. And people got mad at her. Like, it was.
You know,
Yeah, I feel like some Twitch streamers definitely take advantage of that as well.
That's what money. It's like, and then it's like you have these little like these excited, we'll say, guys who just want to
Hey.
enjoy themselves, so they go and watch Twitch streamers. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird. Like there's
Honestly,
certain
though,
websites.
Well,
and most websites are free, and you get better content, so, just...
I think.
Well, I think one of the big things with Twitch is like there are some good streams where like they will interact with people. Like there's some funny stuff that could happen. Like James Ski's streams are usually pretty funny.
Yeah,
But I don't watch them, but I can appreciate those as like this is something that he's doing where he's interacting with viewers, but like a majority of them are just the most mundane things. So today we're gonna be. I'll watch videos. If you guys send me $5, you can put a video and I'll react to it. It's like it's a reaction video, but instead of it being
But
something,
why?
but live. If yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
But then there's
it's
some
kinda-
Twitch that
It's kind of people like some people on Twitch exploit. I'm gonna use exploit others for money to then do something that will make them money. That's what kind of you said.
well, I don't think that they're. I feel like if they're respectful about it, I don't think it's exploiting. Because if this
Well-
person's sitting on a computer 6 hours a day playing video games, like Ninja probably hates his job at this point. He absolutely hates his job.
no,
They're
yeah.
And,
stuck in
um,
that
he's
job
dumb
because of the
rich, though.
sponsorships.
He
Yeah, but he's stuck in
is
that job
rich.
because of sponsorships and contracts. Like if like the girl is exploiting it because she's not doing the right thing and respecting her fans. You respect your fans, you incorporate your viewer base, then you're good. But if you're being nasty and mean to a viewer base, that's
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got a lot of shit for it, which it was justifiable. And then
Duly
she,
noted,
yeah, she
like
was
duly deserved. I mean,
yeah, and then she made an apology video. It wasn't even an apology video. She's like, "Well, they watch my video and then they don't give me anything. It's like I'm spending my time. They're getting entertainment for free." And it's like, "Okay, you joined this, and when you joined and signed up, there was nothing about you getting money. You get money when people like you. People don't
I
like
think
you.
People aren't gonna like you when you do that.
I think what at the end of the day, with some of them, I'm not going to say all, but some of them don't realize is they're entertainers. So,
I'm not entertained.
when they're
I'm
doing a
paying you
stream,
money.
it's obviously hard to entertain someone for 6 straight hours.
Mm.
But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be entertaining. I'm watching you in my free time or as I'm working or whatever, something is happening. That's the whole reason why I'm watching. And if it's not good, I will, 1, not come back, and 2, I won't tip you.
Yeah, I won't give you money.
Yeah, it's
My
like a
hard-earned
comedy,
money.
like
Just
a
because-
comedy club. You won't tip a guy that didn't make you laugh all night.
Yeah, and her reasoning, but behind wanting to get paid and whatnot is it's only $5. It's not like it's $20. It's $5. It's like okay,
It's a lot to some people.
$5 is that can buy me a
I can buy a bunch
something.
of games.
Twitch
Like,
is
I'm
free,
saying.
right?
yeah. It's a free
Yeah.
service.
It's free to watch.
So
To,
someone
to like subscribe to people or like spend money.
like
That's your
to
own
watch, to watch and
Yeah,
everything.
but
Yeah.
then you have like the
Yeah, well,
Prime
I-
thing, the Prime one, but like
Prime.
it's like
Amazon
Prime.
Yeah, but that's still
Or
money. You're still
yeah,
spending money on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's what I was confused
Yeah, but
about.
like if you have it, like a lot of people do, especially like now, like you
No,
get
I
everything
agree,
online.
But you
agree,
only
but
get
it's still,
one. You get one.
But like,
You get
think
one,
about
but
this.
like
Somebody
still one.
likes watching this streamer, and it's on Twitch because they may not have the money for other things, and they like watching the streamer, and all of a sudden the streamer is asking for money. I mean, that guy is not going to come back, or girl, whatever.
Well, they
Yeah.
will. They just won't give them money.
Well,
Yeah,
they may not if they feel like this
Oh, like
person is taking
insulted,
advantage.
yeah.
Like someone, they may not like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I certainly
okay.
wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't like that if a streamer was yelling at me. All right, no, I'm not coming back.
Give me money.
I've
Like,
had
no,
that before,
shut up.
where I was yelled at
Like-
by a streamer. I'm not coming back. I could have donated to you, but
you were personally yelled at by
Yeah.
a streamer.
I think it's
Was it
just-
too nice?
it was.
A donation, something that I feel you earned extra, and that's why you got it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like you went above and beyond playing Fortnite.
Hmm.
And-
Most of the time, it's just kids taking their parents' credit cards, giving these
Yeah,
Fortnite
yeah, but like,
or Fortnite streamers money.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, but
I just-
what do you think of
people
Twitch?
are asses. So.
What do you think of
What
the
are you gonna do
Twitch? What is it called? Twitch moderators.
Like the individual moderators for each channel, or
No, like the fact that one
Aren't they
person
just
can get
bots?
oh
No.
yeah.
like the fact that one person can get banned for anything,
Oh yeah.
and another person doing something of the same degree but worse won't get banned because she's a woman or because she's very
brings
well
in a lot
liked in
of
the
money.
community.
I think it's
Well,
it's
Well,
That's
that's a
just
business
corporate
standpoint
greed.
from that
Like,
point.
YouTube
Yeah.
does the same
they
thing.
probably look at it like at this.
No, but YouTube, even though their rules are like pretty bad, like they're not great, they're usually applied to everyone. Big channels still get like PewDiePie still gets demonetized just as we would.
Mm.
But on Twitch, if you have a certain amount of people, like if you have a certain amount of respect in the community, you just straight up won't get banned.
You want to know why I think that is? It's mainly because YouTube has no competition. Twitch does. So if
Yeah,
they
they have, like,
demonetize
Mixer
people,
and-
people are just gonna go to somewhere else, and then so then Twitch
They'll
is
lose
like, we
big
can't,
partners.
they'll lose big people, and if they keep demonetizing people, they're gonna lose them. YouTube doesn't have that issue because there's no competition for YouTube.
And also,
Vimeo?
demonetization applies
I'm
to
sorry.
the videos.
It's horrible.
Demonetization applies to the videos, not to the channel. Like, if Twitch will do your whole channel, not just one stream. I'm pretty sure.
Well, when you subscribe,
YouTube
it's
will
more of a channel
demonetize your
thing, but
video.
most of the
Well,
money
it
comes
depends.
from
Like, if you
streams.
like controversial stuff,
No,
like,
on
I know, like,
YouTube's like when you get demonetized on YouTube, when you get demonetized, your only one video gets demonetized, not your whole channel.
no, but like,
But with Twitch, I'm
no, but,
pretty
like,
sure it's your
if
whole
they're
channel. You stop
controversial,
getting
controversial, like, I know,
See ya.
like
Yeah, but just
Steven
ban-
Crowder with Louder with Crowder, the majority of his videos they'll get uploaded and instantly get demonetized just because he's right.
Well,
Like,
it's probably
taken
because
off,
he says he says keywords that will come before, like when
algorithm
it's
picks
processing. You know, if he's saying things like coronavirus or Mexicans or anything any keywords that would kind of tick the scale, guns, violence, all that stuff, then it might. I think there will be channels that do get fully demonetized, but it would be the same. Steven Crowder would get demonetized in the same way as most other people. I mean, you could say that there's some bias here or there, but it's not bigger people and smaller people. It's just the keywords that you say. That's less of an issue of like difference of power and more of just an issue of like the rules themselves. Like why is me saying this? Is that infringing on the rules that YouTube sets up?
Yeah, but another topic that strays off this is that the esports people are getting so big and these games are getting so much like clout from people making these huge teams like Rainbow Six and Rocket League and whatnot.
Well, CS:GO was
CS:GO's pretty big.
Yeah,
Overwatch.
CS:GO is probably
Still
one of
really
the
big.
biggest.
CS:GO's big.
How
League of
old it is.
Legends.
World of Warcraft.
Fortnite. I don't know.
Seriously.
Cars, the Wii video game.
Eminem
Cars
Racing.
versus
Well,
Zombies.
Cars
Eminem
doing
car
cool
racing.
Had that game too. On the
Plants
You had
vs.
Eminem
Zombies,
Car
which
Racing.
is 50% off on
I
Steam right
had that
now.
on the Wii. I had Eminem Car Racing on the Wii.
What I don't like is like
Angry Birds on the Wii.
Yeah, that was a good game, I think.
I don't
I don't know.
like me
think
and
that's
Vinny
fine.
have talked
Okay.
about this before. It's like these game companies I'm looking at, Ubisoft, like Siege, they only listen to like what they're 1%, less than 1% of players. They only take what they say. They don't look at the more than 99% of the player base, like what they want. They only look at pro league players, and it ruins the game. Like they don't add guns. They change certain maps for no reason. It's like you're just
Yeah.
listening to that 1%. It's not.
I think
fair.
that relates to the Twitch streamers though in a way because if the biggest Twitch streamer for CS:GO says, "Wow, the Negev is a horrible gun. I wish it was nerfed or buffed, whatever." Then all of their following may blindly believe that and just agree with them. You know?
Speaking about nerfing things, I feel like that's kind of idiotic because think about this. Instead of making everything worse, just make everything better. Because when everyone is overpowered, no one is overpowered.
Yeah, but like I feel like the issue with like CS:GO when they nerf guns or buff guns, all they're really doing. I know that there's like been slight changes because the game is 10 years old and they redid all like that stuff a bunch of times. But generally, when they change the guns, they usually change its like weapon values and the recoil and like the spray. They don't really change how the gun functions. They usually change its place in the game. But like in Rainbow Six Siege, they could take away sights from guns. They can take away guns from operators' loadouts. It becomes a point where it's like, I'm not understanding. Like when you watch your favorite YouTubers, I don't know what anybody else thinks on this, but when you watch your favorite YouTubers, whether that's like Varsity Gaming, anybody, they are pro league players. Those are people that have sunk hundreds, thousands of hours into this game. It's not the average person, and I'm sure that obviously the average person that's playing once every month and just wants to play with his friends probably wouldn't notice. But then you have this kind of middle area where I'm a fan of this game. I'm a fan of other games, Battlefield, CS:GO, and I know those games well, but I'm not clamoring for certain things to be fixed, or I'm not complaining about things so heavily. Like Siege is the only example I can think of, but you have two players, ranked and casual. If you want to have ranked be for super competitive play, that's fine. That's what it's meant to be. So have everything that's competitive about it being ranked. But don't take maps out of casual because the ranked players are complaining about it. It's just adding what they did to Bartlett University is they just took it out of the game entirely. Most people, I'm sure the average person playing casual probably wasn't, oh, I hate Bartlett University with a burning passion. I think, I'm sure there's issues with it. You can change small aspects, but don't completely change it.
I hate when they
character
rework
base.
maps too.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
all
I
they've
don't
been doing. They
based on,
don't
like,
add
the
maps
remake.
anymore.
Yeah, they just change old
20
ones.
year.
Like, what was the one they changed? Like the military base
Hartford
one.
base.
That was
Yeah,
the
that one-
worst.
That was
Hartford
such
base.
a cool
Yeah,
map. And they just they just change it up for no reason. Just make it a new map at least. I don't think anyone really
Yeah.
cares that much.
I mean, if you're just changing a room or two to balance it better, I'm sure that's fine. But when you spend all this time and resources into maps that the only map I've ever seen being two maps I've seen complained about are Tower and not Skyscraper. Damn it, Theme Park.
People complain about
Come on,
House.
Team Talk.
Yeah, but House is stupid. House is like
boring.
House is awesome. I love that map, but like people
House
complain
is
about it and
fun,
want it
but
out of,
I
they
don't
want
think-
it out of the game completely. Like
I don't think
Just
that
take
map.
out a
I
rank.
find it
Put it in
boring.
casual. No one cares.
it's not even in the ranked. It's in casual, and they still want to take it out.
Well,
I-
yeah,
I-
but why though? That's so pointless.
Because people complain. Like just stop complaining. Have it there. Like for variety, they want to say they have 50 maps and like keep the 50 maps. Like I don't.
Yeah, I think that the game would
Both
really.
my chargers are dying. I'm getting really pissed about it.
I think it would really benefit. I think it would really benefit from something to sort out where it's I don't like these two maps, like Battlefield does that. You can do that in or have different playlists where this is the more casual and then this is maybe the more competitive, because when you do that it allows more players to have freedom with what they if you genuinely hate a map that's loved by the community, they're not going to take it out of rotation, and that might make you upset. But if you can turn that off, then everybody wins.
Yeah.
Now
That's
it might
what Call of Duty
They
does.
also have
That's what
things
most
in the
games
settings
do.
where like you could see what
certain
maps you wanna play or
playlists
not.
have certain maps.
no,
like,
there is. I
shoot
think
the
that only
ship.
applies to terrorist hunt, because when we turn those maps
yeah,
off,
that is true.
you still play them. I think that like so many games do that. I could think of a lot of examples. The only one I think that doesn't is CS:GO. But even then, you pick playlists, so you don't have to play all of them at once.
and you vote on the maps too every time.
Yeah, map vote or something. Well, that you quit out of the lobby and then join back in for Siege. So I can understand why that's not really.
Yeah, true.
But it is. It is. It's definitely something that I think that in Siege in particular, they take these the 1%, the esports fans, and they just listen to them, and the casual players sort of get bumped around, and it's just do the average consumer really like when there are less maps in the game than that are actually completed?
No, you want
You
more
know.
variety. Like
Yeah, I feel like
not worrying about that. Even with the guns, they're not adding any more weapons and guns into the game. Like,
That pisses me off. There's
That's annoying.
thousands of things.
Like,
that
I
and they're
400
only
hours
adding
in the
6
game.
operators this year.
There's so many models in the game. Like there's a PP Bison model, there's an AK model, there's an RPG model in the game. Like
I mean, I don't think those
There's
are exactly
kind of an
like.
AK. There's kind of like a version.
There's an
of
AK like
There
12.
is.
there's an AK-12, but like
No,
I'm
there's
talking
one more.
There's an AK-12 and there's an AK. I think it's an M.
Well, it's in the game
Or
already. Fuse
47.
has it.
Fuse has it, and
Nomad.
the Nomad has it.
No,
But, like it's like a AK with a wooden stock and everything. Those two don't have those, or even an option to put those on. Like the classic AK. It's
Speaking
just
of,
like come on.
Speaking
Yeah,
of esports, do you think they should be considered sports? Well, first, let's actually define what is a sport. What do you think?
competition between people.
Competition
Any
makes sense. Something
competitive-
maybe being athletic.
Just any competition,
no,
Charlie.
See, this is where the athletic part comes into gray territory, because I think a sport should be considered any competition that requires any type of talent. Because there's motorsports that require talent in driving, and then there's esports that require hand-eye coordination as well as fast thinking. But then there's athletic sports that require fast thinking, but also hand-eye coordination and like movability, strength, speed, and everything like that. So hand-eye coordination and fast thinking seem to revolve in every type of sport that's defined in like the world at the moment. So I think it should be defined as use of hand-eye coordination in the competition and quick thinking.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think
that
hand-eye coordination. I think coordination in general, because like soccer doesn't need hand-eye coordination. It needs a different type of coordination.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
No, soccer needs it. Maybe not hand-eye, but soccer you need some sort of coordination when it comes to.
I said you need coordination.
Football, baseball. That's hand-eye.
That's what he's saying in general, like coordination in general, not just.
You need foot-eye coordination, but you don't need
that's
to hit
just
a soccer ball
soccer.
with your hand.
I think it's just a
football,
phrase.
that's
I think it's
hand-eye.
just a phrase. Like it genuinely.
Yeah,
You might even need hand-eye coordination if you're a goalie, or just general balance when you're running down a soccer field. Because a lot of people that have bad hand-eye coordination are very unbalanced.
I guess, but I think a sport would be something that you have to practice at. You cannot just pick up and be good immediately. It has to be some sort of activity. I think more physical activity, but that you have to be practiced at to be good.
Well, piano you have to practice at too, so that also requires coordination
that's like
as well.
That's not a physical activity.
It could be. Like if you compete, if two people are competing
extreme piano when you're sword fighting on top of it while playing with your toes, like come on.
No. What?
Stupid, but like I don't know.
No, what I'm thinking of is like
but still
it doesn't exist. But if you were to have like a theoretical situation where two people are competing to play the piano better, which used to exist in like the 1700s, where they would just have piano competition.
Playing it for sport.
That's a competition.
Yeah, but I think that if you say that esports
you say hunting is a sport.
Hunting's a sport.
Chess could be a sport.
Chess. That's what I was going to bring up. Chess and checkers. If you think that esports, you don't think it's a sport?
No, chess is absolutely not a sport, and I do not think esports are sports either.
It's a mental sport.
Chess is definitely a sport. What do you mean chess
is not a sport? No way.
It exercises a part of your brain. It
does exercise.
You're probably doing more work in, like, maybe not physical work, but you're training your brain, which is debatably, besides your heart, the most important muscle. With chess.
Your body.
Did you know
that would define an activity or a competition. I would not say it's a sport.
Brain?
Your body itself is not a muscle.
I know.
Let's define it. Oh, we defined the sport. Never mind.
Gamers are considered professional athletes.
I don't think they should be considered athletes.
Yeah, I don't.
But I think that esports is a sport.
I don't think it's a sport. I think it's an activity and a competition.
Isn't that what a sport is?
Yeah.
No, well, partly, but I think so. What I think a sport is an activity and competition, but also requires physical activity and practice. Physical activity being the biggest thing that I believe in, that many others may not. But
I think practice. You have to use a lot of practice,
your fingers,
but not physical activity.
You have to have good health to be gaming for long periods of time.
Yeah, I think that maybe not chess, but
on.
So is Battleship a sport?
Like if there's a big competition, possibly.
See, that's the thing. There's too many sports. It's not physical activity, and I believe in physical activity for it to be a sport.
Motorsports and like could not be defined as sports either, because you're technically sitting the whole time, but you're still moving your feet, your eyes, your hands.
You gotta have a hand-eye coordination for racing.
I don't technically see those as sports. I'd see them as competitions.
You see golf as a sport?
Foot coordination.
Golf?
Yeah, then golf.
Golf doesn't really have any physical.
I'd say golf is a sport, yeah.
Besides sitting on the golf
you could play golf as an 87-year-old man and still be just as skilled. Same with fishing, same with hunting.
That's fine. Age has nothing to do with it, but it's still physical activity of, you have to swing that club. You have a lot of practice going into swinging.
Well, then can you say motorsports are if you're turning like the wheel?
Yeah, you're turning
like moving your feet.
Motorcycle riders, they have to.
I would say motorcycle. Motorsports is really where my definition kind of falls apart, and that's the weak point. Because I'd say like bikers, absolutely. Motorcyclers, like that do flips
Why
and stuff,
bikers?
yeah, probably.
Oh,
But if you're just driving a car in a circle for 500 laps, I'd say no way.
Well, you need
Well,
to have
that's
an
also
endurance for
an
that.
factor. You need
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
very
yeah.
physically
that's
fit.
also in
Like,
I'd say in
it's
the
not
definition of
just
a
the-
sport, endurance.
But it's not just the point of the physical activity yourself in the what you're doing. It's how you prepare for that activity. You have to be
Yeah, the
very healthy to
practice.
do all these things.
The
So,
practice
like,
portion.
especially with gaming for long periods of time, you can't be like a fat like person or like a cardiovascular disease. Like, you can have that, but that's going to severely limit your access to how you're going to perform during the game.
Yeah.
So it's like
You ever
most
look at
esports
the-
teams will have you be healthy, have you do workouts, have personal trainers, even though it not necessarily relates directly to their game itself.
You ever look at the
Look at most
actual
esports
teams?
players.
You
A
ever
lot
look
of
at
the
the
esports
teams?
players aren't really
Like,
like
they're thin,
overweight.
they
Yeah,
look
all the
good.
teams are like
They got abs
good
and shit.
looking. Yeah.
Mm.
Not good. Well, none of them are like
Like,
overweight.
not facial wise. They're not like,
But yeah,
but
yeah.
none of them are like the typical definition of gamer from like South Park, where it's just really fat guy in the basement. They're not like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that if you really want to break it, there's some sort of like hierarchy of different sports that have different. So like physical
Just because
activity,
they've been around a lot. That's what I feel.
physical activity. Yeah, it's been around. Yeah, that's a good point. When it like there, if you're talking physical activity, that's probably like football. But is swimming, which you have to put hundreds and thousands of hours, and you have to work your diet around for swimming, especially like even those what are they
Not
called?
just
Like,
swimming, any sport.
Like
no, but like
synchronized swimmers?
synchronized swimming. Like that is probably the least like exciting, I want to say, but
Yeah,
that is
those
something
guys
that you
jump out of the water like freaking dolphins, man. Those guys, I mean, they have to practice that for hours and hours, and they have tons of physical activity. Just like you said, endurance. They have tons of endurance. Staying
Yeah.
with their group, they have to watch, but it's still physical activity. I think that, well, if you were doing synchronized swimming, right? That's one. Let's call it a sport. Just stick with me. If you're doing synchronized, you cannot go and play football the next day and be a superstar.
yeah.
You can go from most competitive video games, I'm saying, and be a star in the next. So if I play CSGO, I can now go and play Rainbow Six Siege and still be
That's
very
the same,
good.
That's the same.
The
genre.
There's only
mechanics
Alright.
one
Same genre,
person
though.
that I know, and that's like Shroud, who went from CS:GO.
Quick
to
time
CS:GO.
out on this,
Do
real
they
quick.
do it? I have no idea. I don't watch enough esports to know that. Can they? Most likely with very little less practice.
No, well,
A
like,
soccer
Quick time out, guys, real quick. I just want to read the actual definition from dictionary.com of sport. It says an athletic activity that requiring skill or physical prowess and often a competitive nature as racing, basketball, baseball, tennis, golf, bowling, wrestling, boxing, hunting, and fishing, etc. It says requiring skill or physical prowess. It doesn't necessarily have to be either and a competitive nature. So either one of those and a competitive nature.
Well,
So
competitiveness
that's-
is obviously one, but I think the skill and physical activity, I think, need to go not or, but hand in hand. I mean,
No.
obviously, you need to be skillful. You need to be skillful in whatever you're
Well,
doing.
no,
you
because
know?
I can play I play lacrosse, and I ain't good at lacrosse. I don't got no skill, but I have physical prowess during that sport. I can run. I can catch people. Like if I need to chase someone, I can play.
No, but we're not
I can
talking
shove
about.
a stick in someone's face. Like
We're not talking
Like,
about
that's
but
easy shit.
how a player is good. We're talking about what qualifies as a sport.
yeah, but like, see, I don't have a skill for me to. So like, while I'm playing that sport, is it considered a sport? If I don't have the skill to play said sport, like, they don't necessarily
it's
go
not
hand in
required.
hand.
All right. Well,
Alright, well, one thing I was gonna say is you said that if you're good at one game, you're good at another, and that's kind of true, but it also isn't.
I can
Because-
agree with that to some extent if it's in the same genre. You can't go from playing an RPG to playing a first-person shooter and automatically be amazing because it's two different. types
no,
of-
no,
Yeah,
no.
but
that-
I would even say so. For one, if you're a good runner, you're gonna have certain skills, like certain skills
in
that are both
baseball.
good at soccer and good
Yeah.
at football. If you're good catcher, I don't exactly know catching.
But
applies to this, but you would have be good at football and be good at baseball because you catch
That's
it.
more
Well,
hand-eye coordination.
two things with that. One, baseball, you're using a glove, right? So there's different aspects in each sport, as well as video games. Video games, having different guns and different things, but it'll take much less time for you to be a 2-game video game player than for you to be like Chris. I know you're great at CS:GO. We play a lot, and you're also really good
It is
at.
a lot better.
All right, you're both very good. Whatever. You're both. I'm using you as an example because I had another game, and you're good at Forza too. I know you like playing Forza, and you're pretty good at that. If you go from soccer or from running, like Vinny said, to playing soccer, you have a whole aspect that you're not covering, which is your ball coordination. A lot of sports that I know require ball.
Ball coordination.
Yeah, balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you're sort of.
There's more time. Like
I feel like it's
That's not
connected in the
necessarily
fact where it's
true
like
either, though.
if you play a shooter game, it's like the thing.
You probably have
where it's
put 1,000 hours into that first game before you pick up that second game. That's why.
Yeah,
you're
but
so
here's
good at
another
the second
thing: is
game. It's about
Matt,
how
you're
much
sort
time
of
you put
you're
in
sort of
altogether.
comparing us to esports players, and it's like we're not esports players.
Yeah.
no,
So even if we're good at 2 games or we play 2 games a lot, we're
We're
probably
still-
gonna get our ass whooped by esports
By
players.
anyone.
No, but you're regular guys that have stuff to do. Esports player, this is their job. They could play 2 games, or they could play 1 game and be absolutely so good at it, and then play another because that is their job. They have all the time in the world. We have stuff to do.
Well,
No,
they still, it's
But you
their,
say the same thing about sports players.
It's
Hear
their
me
job
out.
to do that, though.
Hear me out. We have tons of stuff to do, and we somehow still manage to be good at 2 things, 2 games, right?
I
can
guess,
understand to
yeah.
some extent,
Why
but
can't regular sports players that we know, like
Bo Jackson did
athletes, like
that.
football
If
players,
you look at
be good at 2 sports?
I
Why
mean,
can't
because
they?
there's no
Bo
need
Jackson,
They're getting
though,
paid
back
for
in
that.
the 80s,
It's
or
because
whenever Bo Jackson
hold on.
played
What I was gonna
for
say is
baseball and football. So did
what
Michael
I
Jordan.
was. All right, so
no, Tommy, but there's very few 2-sport athletes.
Oh yeah, but
they're-
that's more of a contract
Michael
deal
Jordan,
thing.
he
They don't
played-
want. He played baseball
Yeah,
for like
it
half
is a
the season or
contract
some
deal.
shit.
It is a contract deal, but there's significantly less 2-sport athletes, and I don't know a lot of esports, but it is absolutely possible for these. I mean, esports also just started. Okay.
Yeah, it's a new.
You guys could be playing another game. I mean,
there's a lot. There's
let's
just
use Ninja.
there is a lot of people that switch
Ninja
sports.
made his break on Fortnite. Next, he could be playing Warzone, right? Next, he could be playing and compete in that.
But he's
Next,
not really. Does Ninja
Um,
compete in games, or does he?
like
Just
I think he competes in Fortnite, but I don't think that like when he plays other games, that's mostly for just fun. I don't think he's actually like
I'm
objectively
saying
great.
in 10 years. In 10 years, he will probably, most likely, play 3
most likely be retired.
more or 4 more.
He's rich anyway. He can retire
He
now.
will compete in.
Well, contract.
He has a
Well, if he
contract.
didn't retire, let's say he didn't retire because he's been big for like 3 years. Sports players are a lot longer than that. So let's say he lasted the long time that a sports player does of 12 years. Let's call it.
The thing is,
Okay.
sports players burn their bodies out. You don't really burn your body out when you play.
Because
You get-
like your
you get-
physical activity.
Your like
Yeah.
mental
Yeah,
state
you can get burnt.
decays.
Yeah, but there's being burnt out from like doing. You can get burnt out from doing a office job just because it's
Yeah.
not physical activity.
Yeah.
You know
You
what
can
I
still
think
get
it
burnt
is?
out. It's
You know what
mental
I think
health.
my biggest problem is with esports is the lack of consequence. So going into a soccer game, I know that there is a consequence.
Well,
I
what do
may-
you mean
consequence?
What
By
is
the other
like, what's
team,
the consequence?
there could be a nut job on the other team, and he could come slide tackle me, take me out, and I'm injured for the rest of the season. There's that consequence of me getting injured and hurt. In esports, it's some guy sitting in his bedroom or in a stadium where the biggest thing that's going to happen is he's going to hurt himself by slamming his fist on the
That's
desk
not-
after he
that's-
loses.
Well, that's just.
That's
a
not
sport
true
by
at all.
sport thing.
Yeah, you could.
Well,
The thing is,
also,
people are riding on this
One
money.
esport. when
No,
you
hold
tell
on.
me
Can I just explain? There's this guy in the Super Smash Bros. Community. I don't remember his name. And people hate him. He plays Jigglypuff, and he was on stage, and someone threw something at him and hit him in the head. And at another esports event in London a year or 2 ago, there was a shooting. That's not exactly true.
Yeah.
Like,
Also-
but you're accepting that per sport you play. Like, you know that
if you don't want that to happen, you don't play the sport.
Yeah, and
But
also,
that could happen, Vinny. Both of those things could still happen on a soccer field or a football
it's
field.
less likely
You know,
though. There's
but
not as many
you're
people
not,
going.
You're
to
not putting
Yeah,
yourself in direct danger. Okay, so the odds. I mean, I really don't want to sound disrespectful, but the odds of that happening are pretty low. Okay, when you're playing a soccer game or a football game, especially football, but I'm going to use soccer because it's a little less contact. You're putting yourself in direct danger every single time. Is it big danger? No, but you know the risks and consequences of it.
But you're saying you're not getting hurt, and that's why. But how do you get hurt in golf? Unless someone hits you in the head, but that's
Like
not.
you just throw your back out or something.
Well,
Yeah, throw your back.
That's if you're 80
you
years old.
could
That's
throw
'cause
your
the
back
average
out,
age-
yeah.
the
I
average
could throw my
age-
back out
yeah.
standing up.
Your physical
Like, that's
activity,
an everyday thing.
the physical activity or the things you are doing from the esport will not hurt you. And I'm not saying, oh, you gotta go out there and
carpal
get
tunnel?
hurt. You gotta literally go break
Most
a
carpal
leg.
tunnel.
I'm not trying to say
You
that.
get
but
back
I'm saying,
problems,
My
carpal
eyes
tunnel.
die,
you know, it's a
or if I get, like,
consequence
eye
of doing it.
cancer
Yeah.
I mean,
from the radiation
The
on my
activity
computer.
of competing is for a purpose of, you winning and you getting that self-benefit, which is for everything, esports included. But esports, if you don't win, it's, oh, okay, I'll go home, and maybe in football you have a broken cranium, whatever.
I mean, I don't think
But the
that
thing is,
having
like,
getting
you could
hurt.
get carpal tunnel, back problems. You're sitting all the time, and this is your moneymaker. It's not like you can stand up and do it. You have to sit down. You have to pay attention.
Stand-up desks,
Yeah,
Kyle.
stand up desk. But the thing is, it's with this. The only time you ever get paid is you usually get
If you
paid if you
win.
if you win. If you don't win, you don't make money, and now you can't
Like,
feed yourself.
You
With
also
sports,
have
with-
tons of followers too. With
yeah, but no, not really.
with
They-
soccer, if
That's
you
not even, and that's most esports people don't, like, I'm not gonna say most, but I know a bunch of them don't stream. Like,
Yeah.
they play the games
They work
for the
for a
team,
company.
and then that's it.
they're working for the company. That's how they're making their money, and they make money if they win. With sports,
And
you're getting
if they stream, most of that money goes to the
that
company.
Yeah, and if you're working for that company, you're only getting paid if you win. And with sports, if you don't win, you're still getting paid.
Yeah, like, you got a
Yeah.
$10 million contract for 10 years, you're
You-
set.
but
Yeah.
that's because you're putting yourself.
Like, whether you play,
the harm's way.
or not.
I
Like,
would
when you
accept
bat,
the fact.
you don't play at all. Those 10 years.
Firefighters
You
are
don't put
putting
yourself
themselves in
harm's-
harm's way, and they're not getting paid shit compared to
Well,
that.
they're still getting paid.
Yeah.
One thing, there's a few things that I want to put out there, and you mentioned. Are we talking about physical, like, pain as like getting hurt as the only consequence that can come?
No, I'm talking about like a consequence, like a physical consequence. So by doing this activity,
Yeah, but what about a
know-
mental consequence? And, like, say you
Yeah.
like see or you witness, like, a guy's fucking arm break during a soccer game, and his bone, you can see his bone. You can do
Yeah,
that,
both.
or you can have like the shooting happen, and you can have PTSD from that. Like, it's a very circumstantial about during whether you'll get in physical pain, physical or mental issues from either esports or soccer. Like, sure, it might be more likely, but, like, the chances are still very low because you're a trained professional. You, like, if you're getting paid, and you know how to avoid these problems.
Well,
Yeah, I
not
mean-
all the time because it could. I mean, Never mind.
Unless it's purposely happening, it's not. Usually, you're not going to get hurt in a professional sport,
Yeah.
unless, like,
Well,
football,
in
where you're
professional sport,
purposely
the other
running
team-
your heads into each other.
the other team is that's true, but the other team is looking to win, and sometimes by almost any means necessary. And in some sports, with the exception of golf,
But that's still like purposeful getting hurt, not accidental.
they will try to hurt you. That's what I'm saying. The other team will try
Like,
to hurt you.
But that's not saying another team, like an esports team, can't go and they can, say, loosen the bolts on, like, the table or something, and then the 1,000-pound table with all the computers on it falls on your legs and you got broken legs. Like,
I don't think that's
or
ever
like
happened.
a light.
Yeah,
Like,
Could
it
happen,
hasn't
though.
happened, but it could. People are crazy.
So
Like,
could people want to hurt you during soccer or whatnot?
Yeah, like, it's
think
all
that-
possible scenarios.
I mean,
I
yeah,
think
there's
some other consequences that can come from besides just sitting, which you brought up. But there's a popular thing if you are a Twitch streamer, esport, play esports on the computer. Popular thing where if you're especially in your Eastern European countries, of calling the police and saying this man has a bomb in his house and swatting other people.
That is true.
Yeah,
It's
there's that
Yeah,
threat.
it's a big
may not
problem.
be
The
as
thing
big
there's a
as
thing with
getting
getting
a
swatted.
concussion in football,
Yeah, you're gonna be
but
killed
it's
when you get
definitely a
swatted.
big risk, and it's
Yeah.
happened to a lot of people.
It happened to Ethan Klein 2 or 3 times.
I was just thinking that.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying,
and then he
I'm
had to
not
move
saying
his
there's
house.
Another thing is you mentioned consequence, not even just physical pain, but
Shot.
there were days when, for individual people, I'm talking about Ninja. I remember he was either interviewed or he was just talking to his chat directly. But he said that if he doesn't win in a certain amount of games, he'll lose like 1/18 of his subscribers, and that's money that he has. That's what he pays his rent with. And I understand that he's loaded, but when you sign a contract in football, or when you are in a college football team or something, even if you kind of suck, there's a chance that you won't come back next season, but you have some sort of guarantee moving forward. Esports teams are in very shaky ground, and if they are not on top of their game all the time, especially for
There's
a
only like
long
5
time,
of them.
Well, no, that's
Yeah.
the same for
Like
that's the same for
6 of them.
sports players. A sports player can be let go at any moment. Any moment. They get hurt, they're out. You know, like let's
Not
say a
if they have
football
a
player
contract.
breaks
Not
his
necessarily.
arm like really badly, can't be
No, they're
fixed.
just out of
They
the
still
season.
got to
Yeah,
but they
they're just
still
out
on
of
a
the season.
contract where they got to get paid out from that contract.
Yeah,
Most of the
they
time,
wanna get
unless the
released.
player is like Joe Montana or whatever. Hold on.
But yeah, I think it really depends on the scenario, and both sides have their negatives and their positives. But when you get swatted, that's an example. That happens to almost every
That's
every streamer gets it.
traumatizing.
The
Like
thing is, every
you
soccer
get
player-
fucking rolled up on guys with M4s in your face, like in real life.
God, ew,
That's scary.
yeah,
Unless the
Very
player is
scary.
like absolutely insane, and their contract is most likely gonna have something that says if you get hurt, we can let you go at any time.
I think
Most
that's
likely,
more-
like
that's more like
90%
college-
of
that's college
90%
level.
of athletes will have that unless they're the best of the best. And then that player's done. You know?
yeah, but I feel like that's more from third party things, and just not. That's not a direct. You didn't win this game today. You didn't win this game today. You didn't win this game. The few games this week. So therefore, you lose
They're cutting
1/18 of your
The
fan
SWAT
base, and you're
team.
cut from the team.
The SWAT is not direct. That's also from a third party. It's
Well,
not
no,
from the
I mean
esport
by-
company. It's not
no,
from the
But that's
the
as a
game
result
itself.
of.
Yeah, but
it's a
that
it's a consequence.
Yeah, getting injured in a game and then getting fired is still as a result of. It's the same
Well,
thing.
Also, most of these sports people are usually hot-headed people that the power goes to their head, and then they do stupid shit. Like A-Rod, he did steroids to improve his game. He got caught. He went out for a couple years, but now he's back and he's trying to fix it. He fixed
Look at that
himself.
Aaron
so he says.
Rodriguez guy.
Well,
What is
That's
it?
I just said
A-Rod.
A-Rod.
Something? No, not A-Rod. Not A-Rod. The football
same.
player.
Yeah, the one that
and he
killed.
kills
Oh,
someone.
the one
The
that
one who killed
beat
someone.
his wife or
I don't-
someone? Or
Is
like
it Aaron?
beats dogs or whatever?
I think
Hernandez.
it's
Hernandez.
Hernandez.
He's got a whole
yeah.
Netflix show about
Yeah.
him. Like,
Yeah.
like they do stupid stuff because they think they're so much better because they're physically better. Like most esports people, from what I see, kind of keep to themselves, and like
They're just,
it's
they're
just like
they're just looking out for
they're
their
just
paycheck.
trying to do it because they enjoy the game. And
There's some
they're trying to
hot-headed
win
people in
because they enjoy the
esports.
game. Yeah, but not
Yeah,
to the
well-
point to where they'll go, oh, well, let me go to this bar and bring an illegal gun and let me go discharge it just because I got angry. You know, like
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
know
agree.
if one football player did that, but some football player did that and he got arrested. And I don't remember.
And
It was
also,
either a
I
couple
think-
months ago or a year ago.
I think the thing with to hurt someone in sports, it takes a lot more. You have to think about it and put it in like, okay, I'm gonna slide into his ankle, break his ankle. Versus,
Also, it's both the
Can't
person
do
trying
that.
to hurt you usually gets hurt too.
Esports.
Like it's not you're just hurting the other person.
yeah,
There's a chance that the person hurting
then-
you is
but doing-
very likely going to get hurt.
doing the swatting, it's like that's
That's just fucked
that's
up.
just a phone blocking your phone number from them tracing you and then doing it.
Yeah, but I think that
But a lot of
the,
people get caught.
the fact that like we were even to argue this all kind of comes down to does getting hurt legitimize a sport? Like we brought up golf, but even something like tennis, do you consider tennis a sport?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely
Yeah, I would-
some
I mean-
injuries in it, but like,
There could be
Yeah.
some injuries, but that's not something where people
Well, you got
commonly go home with
stabbed
broken
one time.
legs.
yeah,
I'm not. Yeah, I think we could all agree that sports is a very complicated topic, and I think that there's a lot of factors to go into it. I think the one we lasted on this last little bit, injuries, is very diluted, and there's many different scenarios that could happen in every situation.
One
But
more
I think
thing
we
to
all
say
agree.
about sports, though, is what seems to be happening is with the topics in general. Like, not saying anyone here, but like I talked to my dad about this a lot. I talked to everyone that's a little bit older and didn't really experience the start of all the new these classic sports like football, baseball, soccer. Like, I'm sure at the beginning they had some of their this conversation might have been happening when those started with other things like that people were playing around the same time. I think it's because they're new and upcoming, people just don't want to accept them, or they don't understand them, so they don't want to accept them.
I
That's
was
just
gonna
how I
bring that
feel
up.
about it.
Like they had
Like,
college
there's a
fairs
time
at
when
our
baseball
school, like
was not new,
previous
and like
years, and there was esport things there.
you have to realize this is going to be
Games.
whether people like it or not. This is the new and upcoming thing that most children are going to get into
They're gonna grow up with this.
because they, especially now during these times where you got to be home all the time, they can't go out and play football with their friends, but they can stay home and watch videos and play Fortnite with their friends and stuff like that.
You know what I
There's a
want to
whole
talk
new
about in
dynamic going into it.
another video? Sports like video games like FIFA and NHL.
Oh, those suck.
How
That's a whole
awesome
other
they are.
thing.
We Sports.
How you
It's gonna
can
have
make
to
the
be
same?
Wii
How you can
Sports
make
is
the
awesome.
same game
Is
for
Wii
20
Sports a
years?
sport? Let's talk
Yes,
Is
about
Wii
it
that.
is.
Sports an esport game?
We fit.
Wii Sports
Oh, yeah.
should be an esport game.
That should be. I
Guys,
agree.
I think that's gonna have FIFA and Madden is
That's another thing.
another
Yeah, it's
time.
another whole topic.
It's been really great. I know I have a bit of a more traditionalist, kind of an older feeling
Boomer.
playing sports myself and not
Right.
growing up really with a lot of video games. And it was really fun talking about this, and I'd love to continue this sometime. But I think that's all we have for today.
No, wait,
and,
no. Car thing.
First car
New
tech.
Nissan 400Z, a predecessor
car.
to the 370Z and the 350.
I'm
Not
excited. Kind of.
It
Would it be
come
kind
out
of cool?
Predecessor? Oh yeah, predecessor. Yeah, okay.
Not like very good news that
Successor.
Nissan is making a
After 9
successor.
years.
9 years not
Finally.
making a new sports car. It's going to be very interesting to see how this accumulates
out.
into future project because they have the GTR, they have the 370. It's a whole new engine because new 4-liter might be just a bored out model, might not. We might find out if they introduce a new engine style compared to the VR and the VQ because the VQ is getting a little bit old, but the VR, they might throw a VR in there, which is in the Infinity, one of them, and in the GTR. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. I completely agree, and how that affects the whole sports car market, which Toyota, BMW, and all the other companies seem to be improving upon in these last recent few years.
Maybe they'll go at something with Acura, not Acura. Well, Infinity,
which
yeah.
they own. Yeah, probably.
Okay, so I think that's it for this week,
Oh,
and thanks
No.
everyone for watching.
Come on, Ben. Come on, Ben.
But
Alright.
see you guys.
Not this time.
Yeah, everyone have a great week, and hopefully we'll talk about the French Revolution soon.
Maybe next week.
we missed it again.
Oh.
next
God
time. Next
forbid.
time.
See you
Next
guys.
time.